Gasoline consumption measurement. This is our topic and it will be presented by Aguilar, Juárez, Kary, Ayadali, Ceron, Ojeda, Alexis, Eduardo, Fernández, Sánchez, Jonathan, Romero, García, Nestor, Honorio, Sánchez, Gómez, Alan, Iván, Solis, Peralta, Jeshua, Raul, Vazquez, Mares, Miguel, Ángel, and Velazquez, Cortes, Joaquin, Emanuel. And once said that, let's get started with a little introduction to this topic. And it is known that nowadays most people in Mexico possess vehicles which work with fuel, and since the cost raises and decreases deliberately without hesitation, it results in knowing that depending on the fuel station that people choose, they will receive different amounts of fuel that will not only reduce the useful life of our car for hours, but for even days, and all of this for the exact same cost. Here's when a question comes out, and this is, how can we know if we are receiving the fuel which we are paying for? Well, in order to solve this problem and give this information to the driver, it will be created a measuring prototype that will be assembled in our fuel reservoir to measure the gasoline we are receiving. Furthermore, it will send this data to a little screen on the dashboard so that the driver knows in real time the amount of fuel he is receiving, and this way he can decide in which gas station he can get his gasoline.
Gas station companies, Kary. What are the brands of gas stations in Mexico? Until January 2020, there were different permits in Mexico to sell gasoline in addition to the points of sale of Petróleos Mexicanos, PEMEX, Pemex. The most relevant gas stations are the following: G500, Gulf, La Gas, Oxogas, Petro 7, Hydrocina. Jorge Luis Pedraza Navarrete, president of the Association of Distributors of Gasoline and Lubricants, Harigo, said that these year new companies enter of the branch. The increase in fuel was in the second quarter of the year and thus began the opening of the market in the country different brands of gasoline, including British Petroleum, ExxonMobil, Repsol, Shell, Total, Chevron, ERCO. PEMEX Pemex was a web platform where you can see complaints and suggestions of the products, where you put your personal data, given the product and the description in the requirement is added. This is the platform. With respect to the insured address with the dispatch of 4-liter gasoline, the following got be rescued. What is the regulatory body to ensure the sale of 4 liters? PROFECO. Profeco is the regulatory entity.
Well, complaints. Normally, when we are going to load gasoline and we can notice that the full liters are not dispatched to use, we usually explode and argue with the person who dispatches us, which is not correct. Since the person who dispatches isn't the one who does the robbery, it is the gas station that, as reported by Profeco, it is known that they manipulate the pumps from the places far from the establishment so that they dispense less fuel than is marked on the pump screen. There are people who record the gas station where they went and suggest people not to refuel there because they steal gasoline, which is not bad in order to inform the population, although a more formal process can also be done that is then will present. What we must do when noticing that a gas station does not send you full liters is to report it to the Federal Consumer Prosecutor's Office, Profeco. To report, you need the name of the gasoline supplier and its localization with the street number, neighborhood, mayor office, or municipality, zip, code, and state. The report can be raised in any of the following options: email, WhatsApp, or the app Litro por Litro. The Litro por Litro app shows you a map with the gas station near your localization and indicates the price of fuel, permits, company name, history. We can activate navigation to the select gas station and even give you the option to make a report direct and format to Proyecto in case any irregularity is detected.
Machine operation. Typical fuel dispensers include several sections such as hydraulic, metering, and hosing nozzle portions. The hydraulic section contains a rotary pump for drawing fuel from the storage tank and a solenoid pilot valve to ensure that fuel flows only toward the dispenser and not back into the pump. Commercial dispensers such as those found at gas petrol stations may host multiple units connected to different storage tanks from the purpose of supplying multiple fumes with different compositions or octane ratings. An operational fume dispenser contains a continually running electric motor between the storage tank and the hydraulics portion of the unit for the purpose of maintaining a partial vacuum at the rotary pump inlet. When the nozzle opens, the storage tank draws a suction press from the inlet, causing fuel to flow toward the pumping unit. An intermediary filter removes air bubbles or suspended solids from the fuel. Fuel then flows through the pump and back into the metering unit. This portion includes mechanical gearboxes, as in other pumps, or piston meters and encoders to measure and distribute a specified amount of fuel or track fuel output. After the metering section, the fuel progresses through a flexible hose and into a nozzle that dispenses it into a vehicle or storage tank. Nozzle size. Diesel dispensers use larger nozzles that are incompatible with standard vehicle fuel pipes to avoid misfueling.
Well, now I am going to talk about the fuel system, as it is very important for the development of our project. Nowadays, all gasoline vehicles have this system. But what is the fuel system? The fuel system is in charge of circulating and reaching the fuel to the combustion chamber, so that is mixed with the air, and when the spark plug generates the spark, combustion takes place, and with this the movement. Current fuel systems are better because they seek to reduce fuel consumption, emit less polluting gases, and have a higher engine power. Fuel system components. The fuel system consists of the fuel tank, pump, filter, and injectors or carburetor, and is responsible for supplying fuel to the engine. And components must function perfectly to achieve the expected performance and reliability of the vehicle. Over time, engine performance may be slightly reduced due to deposit buildup, which clogs major parts of the fuel system and reduces fuel efficiency and power. Fuel tank, a tank in which fuel is stored. Fuel pump, it can be located inside or outside the fuel tank. Its function is to deliver the fuel to the injection system with constant pressure. Fuel filter. It is located between the fuel tank and the fuel pump. The filtering element prevents fuel impurities from damaging the injector pump and the injectors. In some vehicles, the fuel filter must be replaced according to the manufacturer's recommendations. A dirty filter or one that has reached the end of its useful life can cause poor combustion, resulting in reduced engine performance and increased fuel consumption. Inlet valve. The valve opens to allow the air-fuel mixture to enter the combustion chamber. If there is a deposit on the inlet valves, the flow of the air-fuel mixture into the combustion chamber may be restricted or reduced. Fuel sticks to deposits on the inlet valve and does not enter the combustion chamber when needed. Fuel injectors, carburizers. Injectors are valves responsible for supplying fuel to the engine intake manifold, which in turn supplies fuel to the combustion chamber. They are designed to provide a precious fuel mixture, and the slightest amount of deposits dirt can disrupt the sprite pattern, resulting in numerous performance problems, poor starting, rough idle, engine hesitation. Clean fuel injectors are essential for optimum performance. Until the late 1980s, most vehicles used carburetors as a method of fuel delivery. Most carburetors are manual, not electric devices used to mix evaporate fuel with air to produce an explosive or fuel mixture for internal combustion engines. Electronic fuel injection has generally replaced carburetors. Piston. Pistons move up and down and convert combustion pressure into motion. Combustion chamber. This is where the combustion of the air-fuel mixture takes place. Deposit in the combustion chamber can affect heat transfer and air-fuel compression. Excess heat can cause ignition and premature detonation. Some vehicles have knock sensors that are used to determine engine detonation or pre- or post-detonation. With these sensors, the computer detones the engine to eliminate this symptom, which has negative effects of performance. Deposits in the fuel system cause detonation.
Sensors. What is a sensor? It is a device capable of detecting external actions or stimuli and responding inconsequently. We can classify them according to their function. For example, linear and angular position sensors, displacement sensors, speed sensors, acceleration sensors, pressure sensors, thermometers, and proximity sensors. Proximity sensor. What is a proximity sensor and why is it useful in this project? Are modules used to detect the presence of nearby objects without a need for physical contact. We can classify them according to the physical principle they use, for example, capacitive, inductive, magnetic, or ultrasonic. For use, the ultrasonic sensor is more viable. An ultrasonic proximity sensor measures distance by using ultrasonic waves. The head emits a wave and receives the reflected wave that returns from a nearby object. Ultrasonic sensors measure the distance to the object by counting time between emission and reception. How will we use the sensor? This sensor will be placed in the highest parts of the tank, and when during gasoline, it will measure the distance between the gasoline and itself. As the level in the tank increases, the sensor sends the information to the Arduino, and based on the distance that was recorded, quantify the information, and then show you on an LCD screen a measurement in liters, which would be the liters of fuel dispensed. Here we have some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages. When programming the Arduino, you will be told what reading to give in liters for each distance recorded by the sensor. So, it doesn't matter what shape the tank has. The sensor is capable of giving accurate readings, and the system's programming and calibrations are not very difficult. Disadvantages. The reading shown on the screen will be the total amount of gasoline in the tank, not what was dispensed to use. When it is already in operation, we must wait for the gasoline inside the tank to stabilize so that the sensor can give a correct reading. And finally, other alternatives considered. it was the caudalimeter. It is a sensor that measures the expense or the amount of a fluid that circulates through it. These sensors would use the exact measurement of liters of gasoline that enter in the tank, but we find two major disadvantages. One, one of them is that the pipeline through which the fuel is dispatched would have to be modified, and the programming is more complicated. Therefore, this option was ruled out and we continue working on the ultrasonic sensor.
Fuel tank. We call fuel tanks to the storage tanks that storage fluids. The shape can be cylindrical. The fabrication's materials can be stainless, steel, fiberglass, plastic, or carbon steel. A fuel tank must be inflammable and must be safe. Characteristics. They can have a capacity about 0.5 to 10,000 fuel liters. They can be horizontal, vertical, or underground. They can have level and field control meters. They must be safe and inflammable. They must comply with the rules. Kind of fuel tanks. Fixed tanks. They are immobile and they can't translate, have a capacity over 3,000 liters. They can be over the floor, half buried or buried. Mobile tanks. They can be moved easily. They can be in the car, or like a gallon or like a pipa. There are others like trunk tanks, storage room, or protected wardrobe. Integral tank. This kind of tank is located in airplanes. It's located in a specific area where the airplane used to storage. They frequently are located in the wings. They are known like wet wings. Almost every planes have integral tanks. Beam tank. They have shape of bag. They are used on airplanes. They are located on an area where can support the total weight. They are used to storage all the fuel it can. Materials. The tanks are pulled with steel and plastic, and depending if the car is a sedan, van, truck or 4x4. However, nowadays the most cars change to use plastic tanks because it is lighter. Plastic. They have more restrictions to avoid leaks. They are safer than steel tanks. They have more capacity to storage fuel and could have bigger size. They resist more the bumps and breaks. They can have longer life. Still, they can limit the polluting emissions. They still catch chemical products harmful. They are cheaper but heavier. They are less flammable. They are safer on fire and in high temperatures. They have less legs. Location. The location changes in each car. It can be back, over, or in front from the back axle. Capacity. The car can have capacity about 45 to 65 liters, but it can change if it's a big car or van or a truck. The tanks have a reserve about 15% of the total capacity. Frequently, the reserve have 5 to 15 fuel liters.
Conclusion. Finally, everything involved in our project was used ranging from the background to necessary information to understand the operation of the prototype to be made. We have advanced considerably for the duration of the project, which will help in step to develop in a practical way in the 6th-semester science serves as thesis work and final project of the technical career in automotive systems. During the process we will seek guidance from professors to better carry out the project. The references used for the project are shown here.